Merkel Media.
He put it in park, threw open the driver's door, ran out the side of the car, across the front of it, and jumped right off the side of the bridge in front of me.
The only people that really pulled over were truckers.
He said, we're going Hodge, and he didn't slow down. He went across the median onto the oncoming traffic, but where they could see him coming, they just got out of the way.
I noticed this plane was really low. It went right in front of us, hit the fence, and it spun around. 30 seconds more, he could have hit us.
But I went around that truck, and a guy stepped out from behind the truck and threw a piece of wood, and it shot through my window just like a spear and stuck in the back of the cab of my truck.
That's probably one of the stranger things I've seen.
Welcome to Hammer Lane Legends. I am Brian Merkel.
And I'm the guest host, Scott VanHalken.
Keep going.
Sorry, this is my first time doing this.
You're totally good. If you have a crazy and wild story you'd like to share with us from the road, or if you'd like to just have a conversation with us about your experiences on the road, go ahead and contact us at hllpodcast@protonmail.com. That's hllpodcast@protonmail.com. Or go to the hammerlanelegends.com webpage, hit the contact section, get a hold of us that way. Either way works for us. Just go ahead and get a hold of us. Scott, tell them about the voicemail line.
Voicemail line is 515-585-MERK 6375. You have a short little story to tell us, about 5-10 minutes long, give us a call. Anything over that, send us an email, and Brian here will get a hold of you and get you on the show.
Look at you going. You're like a professional sitting here doing this as a guest host.
Well, I've only been here 3 times as
that's all right. So you
visitor.
Know what you're doing. Now tell them about the Buy Me a Coffee.
Well, keep us fueled and buy us a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/HammerLaneLegend.
Very good. I appreciate that. Who are we talking to today, Scott?
I forget his name.
Andrew.
Andrew.
You forgot his name. You're the guest host and you forgot already.
Sorry, Andrew. I apologize.
Moly.
That's all right. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
We're doing well. It's good to talk to you.
Hey,
thanks for coming on.
Me.
Oh, it's totally our pleasure, man. It's awesome. It is so awesome. I was so excited when I saw your email. I was like, that's awesome. That's, it looks like there's some interesting things to talk about and all the things you got going on and what you've been into. So, because I haven't talked to anybody who's done the 57-foot roller trailers there in California. Yeah. So that's kind of cool. That's a totally different thing. And of course, everything. That's the industry. Everything every day is different. So
yeah. Anytime I bring it up here, when people ask me questions, hey, so what kind of equipment have you driven and this and that, and I tell them, my very first job, the equipment that I used was a cab over with a 57-foot roller van.
Uh-huh.
He said, wait, you can drive 57s in California? And I said, sure you can. It's just the extra 5 feet in the nose of the trailer, and it's the same in the back.
Right.
People don't really understand the kind of equipment that you can drive in California.
Are the roads that much bigger out there? Is that why they can actually do the longer trailers, or is it just that's what California allows?
That's just what California allows, man. I mean, I was driving 57-foot trailers out in Los Angeles, downtown LA, and
wow.
Those streets are pretty small. Maybe not as small as other cities, but LA is pretty dense, so it's challenging, and it takes some special thinking to drive those things around town.
Oh my word, I can imagine. I mean, it's enough just trying, doing a 53-foot, dragging it around. I can't imagine doing that. That's a different world,
I even did I remember when my dad took me to the DMV with that 57-foot trailer and that cab over. Everybody looked at me going, "Wait, you're going to do the test in that?"
Wow.
I said, "Yeah." I passed that test first shot, and
nice.
I think I saw a couple of clappers out there, and they're looking at me like, "Wow, bravo, bro, bravo."
Oh, I bet that's fantastic, man. Holy cow! I mean, that takes your breath. I mean, that's some freaking gutsy stuff. Taking your test in something like that. I thought it was enough just doing a 53-foot trailer taking my test.
Yeah, you never see that anymore. Guys taking full length trailers to the DMV to take their test. It's usually those little, I don't know, what are they, 30 footers or 28 footers?
Yeah, little pup trailers. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, just the bare minimum to get their licenses. They take the bare minimum to get their licenses.
Yes.
So I don't think it's
that is the truth.
You know.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
They'll either do the pups or they'll even do the 45s. I've seen quite a few of them.
Yeah, 40, 45s and pups. Yeah. It's the easiest thing to do. But I think it's easier to do a test and do your backing and all that stuff with the 53. You know, you've got less, if you put the tandems where they should be, it's a lot easier, getting back underneath the trailer and doing all, doing what you need to do, backing up and everything. I just think it's easier. I just do.
But, yeah, absolutely. I mean, those tandems, the way they're set up, right? I mean, the smallest movement of the steering wheel can move that trailer, a lot slower in the bigger trailers. Right. When driving around those little pups, right? I mean, you turn that steering wheel and then before you know it, you're already jackknifing. So yeah, sometimes I always say bigger is better when it comes to equipment.
Yeah, 100%. I have found that to be, even when I did city work, when I was a daytime driver for the LTL industry, I would rather have a 53 than have a 45 any day, because it's just getting around. I mean, you get it's harder to drive in the city, driving, making your turns and all that stuff when you're in, places like North Jersey and all that. But, when you got to back in someplace, to me, it was just so much easier with a 53. But that's enough of me. So how did you get into trucking to begin with? How'd that work out for, what was the thing that got you involved in this to begin with? This wonderful, industry we call trucking.
Well, I'm not going to lie. I'm not ashamed of my past, but, I got into some trouble and,
that's all right.
My dad wasn't, I was 20 years old. My dad wasn't going to let me sit around at home all day. And, he says, you know what? You're going to come work for me. You're going to move trailers. My dad owns a little small business, a little outfit of his own. Okay. And he goes, you're going to work for me. You're going to move trailers. You're going to get your license and you're going to do something. And that's what I did. I moved trailers around for him. I ended up getting my first job right after getting my license here in Chino, California. Okay. And, I got involved in the 57 footers, distributing empty bottles and soda cans for Pepsi, 7-Up, and Coca-Cola. That's how they transfer all the empty cans and bottles to those places. Wow. And I did that for the most part of my career, about 10 years. I did that. And then I moved over to other things. But yeah, that's how I got started. That was 18 years ago. Yeah.
Isn't it amazing how fast the time goes when you're doing something like that? And of course, it's like that for everybody, no matter what job you're doing, time flies by, but it's amazing how quickly it goes by. I mean, I look back I've been doing this for 31 years this year. And it's just, it doesn't seem like it's that long. You know what I mean? Like I raised my kids doing this, it's like crazy, but, because you're busy. I mean, this is a job where you are, you're not, there's not that many.
It's not an office job, man.
It's not. Exactly. It's not. And it's not one of those jobs that you're just going to do 8 hours and go home. Nope. It just, the DOT
12,
says you can
14,
work 14
16.
hours. Yeah, that's it. The DOT says you can, so your company says you're gonna.
Yeah. That was one thing I didn't know going into it. I started working and I go, oh man, I'm at 10 hours for the day. Am I going home? No, you still have one more load, man. Go.
Yeah.
Like, wait.
What do you mean you got 10 hours for the day? You got time yet?
Yeah. And running local, I ran local most of my, actually all of my career. I ran local. Okay. So, it's bumping docks all day long and it's dropping hooks and it's different. It's a lot more exhausting. I'm not trying to put down my over the road guys, big shout out to them, obviously, but even sitting behind a steering wheel all day long for 10 hours, 11 hours straight, that's still mentally exhausting.
It is
versus physically exhausting with what I was doing, cause I was actually driving, getting out and actually having to hand unload everything on my own because we had rollers inside those trailers.
Wow.
So, not only were you driving all day long, in traffic and bumping docks and waiting your turn, you actually had to go into the trailers and hand unload them yourselves to the forklift driver.
Right. Crazy.
And, I did some of that over the road stuff, not too long, But yeah, that's challenging too. Just staring out that window, trying to stay physically. No, not physically. I want to say trying to stay mentally busy. So you can stay alert. That's difficult. It's hard.
And at the same time, you're not home around your loved ones. You're not available to people who I mean, you're out wherever, you anywhere in the contiguous 48, maybe up into Canada, who knows, you just anywhere. And I think that's one of the things that for me, I never did. Now Scott did over the road. He did, regional, pretty much. Yeah.
Anywhere from Virginia down, from Virginia up to Maine.
Okay. So when you're gone, you're gone, like for an LTL guy like myself, or, but you've been local, at least, you're going to see home at some point. It may not be within this, a regular shift, but you're going to get home. It's a whole different world when you're living in the truck. And I just, my hat's off to those guys too. I agree with you. I think
over the road guys really are the stronger backbone of America. I think because they get goods from the ports of LA clear across the country. Those guys go from say Long Beach to Texas or up into the central parts of the United States. Montana, Michigan. All those areas that are not really easily accessible. I think you get what I'm trying to say there.
100%. Yeah. I mean, they see it all, and they get in everywhere, and they don't get the choice of, am I going to have a day cab, or am I going to have a huge sleeper and a 53-foot trailer and try and get in someplace in Jersey City or someplace in Montana or, whatever, I totally agree with you. My hat's off to those guys. It ain't easy, and it's not for everybody, No. Thankfully, there are local jobs,
Yeah, right. And that's all I've ever done. I think I've always been lucky to just have a local job, because I think kind of getting into another part of that over the road atmosphere is the new drivers, right? The new drivers coming into trucking. There's not a whole lot of jobs out there that are going to give you a local job.
Right.
They're sticking you right in the truck and they're saying, okay, cool. You're a line guy now, and you're going to go out for whatever, 12 weeks, 3 weeks, 6 weeks, and then you'll come home. And a lot of these new drivers out there, I think they're getting hit pretty hard right now with that over the road stuff. And I think for some guys, it might turn them off because they're like, oh gosh, when is this going to end? I just want to be home with my family. I want to be home every night. I think for the younger guys just getting into it, if there's any advice to them, just hang in there, right? Just hang in there.
Yep.
They don't get their, time behind the wheel for a year or two.
Yeah.
And then most companies will take them after that.
Yep. It's just that time, it's like you said, getting that experience. Everybody's looking for experience. Everybody's looking for somebody who knows what they're doing, especially in the LTL industry. They want to put somebody behind the wheel who they feel comfortable with. That's, and that's what that time is for. You learn it, and then you move on. You get out of the over the road, and you find some place that's local to you. But it's just not easy. It's not an easy. It's no matter where you're at in the industry, it can be a difficult industry to work in. I mean, it's just because it is gonna take your day. It is just it's the way it is. Like I said, the DOT says you can work 14, and your company says you're probably going to work 14. If they can make you, if they have the freight to move, you're going to move it. That's just the way it is.
I'm pretty fortunate now where I'm at in my career. I found, I'm hooked up with a really good company now, and I'm in food service. I work in food service now, and the company I work for, they only believe in the 14-hour day. We don't work past 14 hours, and most of the routes that we bid are anywhere between 12 and 13 hours. They try to keep everything under 14.
Yeah,
just because they want to stay under the risk of having to have a driver work 15, 16 hours. Because then, especially with what I do, we work day cabs. They'd have to put us up in a hotel. It's going to cost them more money, if anything. So, I'm pretty happy that I know for the most part where I'm at, I'm not working more than 14 hours every day.
Right.
So yeah, it's really good.
I heard that. Every now and then it happens to us. Every now and then, like if something happens at night, like we're both line haul, both Scott and myself, and when Shipper's usually here and he's a line haul driver too. So we're all nighttime guys. And the only time we wind up with doing like a 16-hour or laying out is if, inclement weather in the wintertime here on the East Coast is, that's a hit and miss. All winter long, it's a hit and miss. Or if there's, an accident or something that ties up the roadway for a while. Like, we're experiencing that today here in PA on Route 81 out by Harrisburg. There's a heck of an accident out there and the roads are just tied up. It's just red lines everywhere on Google Maps.
Wow.
And that's where Shipper is at. He was coming in and it's like, oh man, it just looks ugly. So,
I spent quite a bit of time out there on the East Coast. My company sent me out to Michigan. I was out in Plymouth and I was delivering restaurants in Michigan, what is that? Michigan, Pennsylvania, New York, and what is that other state? Right?
Ohio?
Is that Indiana? Ohio, Indiana?
Yeah, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, all that whole corridor.
Yeah. They service all the Taco Bells and everything in that area. So if you ate Taco Bell out there recently, just know that your boy here I delivered that stuff.
That's awesome.
I wonder if he found any of the bottles.
Fast Eddie.
Fast Eddie.
Yeah.
It's but it is. Well, how did you find yourself doing this? Doing the food stuff, the food industry part of it.
Well, this is funny because I was working for another company doing home delivery construction materials and those orange trucks with the Moffats on the back. I don't know if you guys are okay with me putting company names out there.
That's up to you.
Yeah, totally up to you. We have no problem.
Okay, yeah. So I used to work for Home Depot Home Delivery.
Okay.
And I used to deliver just anything that the store sold inside. They would deliver it to you, but I would drive a 48-foot flatbed with a Moffat on the back.
Okay.
And so that job was just absolutely stressful for me. Working in LA, it's just unsafe for me. And it's not that I was inexperienced.
Uh-huh.
It's just how they worked me when I was working there. And it was just, I was absolutely miserable. So I started looking and I ended up finding a friend who worked at this food service company that I'm at now. And so I'll just tell everybody now, I work for McLean Food Distribution. Uh-huh. And probably the best company I've ever worked for.
Awesome.
And yeah, that's why I'm just so happy there. Seriously, I really mean that. I've never said that about any other company I've ever worked for.
That's
seriously.
Great. I really am happy for you, dude. That's awesome.
It's work, but it's good work. I like it. So anyway, I had a friend working there and I just called him up. I remember seeing him posting something on Instagram and I was just like, you know what? I can do that. I said, I can do that. So I just called him up one day and I said, hey man, you guys hiring? And he says, oh yeah, we're always hiring, Okay, I put in an application that night. I put him down as a referral. And sure enough, a couple days later, their HR department gives me a call. We do an over-the-phone interview. About another day or two go by, and they offered me a job. And I said, when can I start? And they said, well, when can you start is what they were asking. Would you like to put in 2 weeks at your other company? When can you start? And I said, I think it was like a Wednesday or Thursday. I said, I can start Monday, please. Nice. And sure enough, she said, okay, no problem. Just come on down. We're going to have you fill out some paperwork, do some orientation. And we'd really like to extend you a conditional terms of employment.
Wow,
and
that's great.
I said, great, no problem. And I was out on a route that day working in that flatbed. I hung up the phone. I hung up the phone with McLean, redialed Home Depot. I quit. You guys can find your keys, your cell phone, all your paperwork, the rest of this route in the parking lot back at home. Have a great time with it. I quit. I hung up the phone. It's the only time I've ever actually quit a job with no notice. And I walked away from it and I never turned back. And I'm glad that's a bridge that I didn't mind burning. Yeah. That was definitely a bridge I didn't mind burning. I had nightmares about that job.
Wow. That's awesome.
And it's not for everybody. Just like what I do.
Sure.
It's not for everybody. That job is not for everybody. And I'm big enough to know that job was not for me.
Right.
So yeah, and then I just got into food service, and then I just started. I like it. I enjoy it. I've been doing it for 4 years. We work at night, and you see all kinds of things at night. And I still kind of work in LA.
Yeah,
I still kind of work in LA, and it's a little bit of a zombie land out there. But working nights is always nice for me, and I've always been a night owl. And food service is very labor intensive. But
yeah, very much so.
I'm not going to say I love it, but I do enjoy it. I do enjoy it.
That's awesome. That is, what more can you ask for out of a job? If you can enjoy doing the job you're doing, and you make a decent paycheck at the end of the week, and the check doesn't bounce, I look at it like, I'm doing all right. That's where I'm at with it. It's like after all these years in the industry, you just get to that point where it's, you've had the jobs that aren't the greatest. You've had the jobs that, aren't any fun. The jobs that just wear you out, and you're just, I think we've all had that moment, where it's like, somebody's offering you a job and you're like, yeah, I'm good. I'll see you on Monday.
Yeah. Yep.
That's what you got to do.
And I never turned back. And the biggest selling point for me was when she told me we only work 4 days here.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
I was sold.
That's nice. Well, so what is your, are you work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, or does it split up at all for you?
Well, when I first started, before I started gaining some seniority there, my days, my work days were split up. I was working Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, Friday night, and sometimes they were like splits. Like I would work Monday, and then I would work Wednesday, and then Friday, Saturday. It just, that's all. That's just the way it works in the beginning, till you get, you earn your stripes.
Yep.
And then now I got a really good schedule, and I only work Sunday night to Wednesday night straight. And,
nice.
I'm off Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and I don't go back to work till Sunday night. I'm pretty happy with that.
Man, that is awesome. I'm happy for you, man. That's great.
It's a good company, pays the bills, and we're able to go out on nice vacations, and I can still do things. But and that's most food service companies, 4 days, 5 days with overtime, things like that. I don't sign up for overtime. I don't sign up for overtime, but it was just a huge change from what I used to do to what I do now. Huge change.
Right. That's good. That's really cool, man. That is, I can't, flatbedding and doing stuff like, like what you're doing at Home Depot. I don't, that is a job that it just takes an extra level of patience in my mind to do. And I just don't know if I'd have it, and it's like being a daytime driver nowadays. It's a whole different world. And I don't think I'd be a good daytime driver. I don't think I got the patience anymore,
Yeah, I guess
I used to do flatbed for a company in Nazareth, and I will never ever do another flatbed.
Yeah, don't blame you.
Yeah.
Are you there, Andrew?
So
did we get a bump?
Flatbedding for home.
We must have.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, we did. I kind of lost you a little bit there. Let's see here.
I don't know. We've lost connection.
I can hear you again.
We lost Andrew,
but I hear him every now and then, so I know he's there.
Yeah, we're coming back. There we go. I think we're back. Let's see here.
Are we still good, Andrew?
It was kind of in and out. You guys got me now?
There it is. I see him moving now.
Yeah,
there you go.
Are we good? We're good?
Okay.
We're good? All right.
We're back.
We're back.
I'm
sorry,
a few
guys.
minutes there. No, it's okay. Listen, no worries, man.
We can edit that.
It's progress. Yep, exactly. That's what we got producers for. They'll take care of that for us.
Yeah, Jack.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love it. You guys were talking about flatbedding. It was the last thing I heard.
Yep.
The difference between what I do now and what I did back then is with Home Depot and home delivery, I was dealing with the general public. When I'm dealing with customers that McLean services, I'm dealing with employees of another company, you know, and it's just so the dynamic of attitude and the way people are is so much different. When I was working at Home Depot delivering, say, you know, I was delivering roof shingles to your house. Customers are so much more rude and demanding. Because they think, well, I'm the customer of Home Depot. Do what I tell you, you know, and it's just different. And, you know, you always get those people that, you know, well, they told me you were going to put it in my backyard. Well, this is curbside. And I was always that guy. No, I am leaving it on the curb, or I can leave it on the truck and take it back. Your choice.
I've seen a bunch of videos like that.
Yeah.
I was never rude to people. And versus now, I'm delivering to customers, and it's just, you know, I walk in, hey, how's it going? Good evening. You know, I hope you guys all have a great day. I'm going to be in the back. I'm going to get started. And they're just like, oh, okay, no problem. Yeah, all right. You know, if you want something to eat before you leave, and oh yeah, thanks. You know, a lot of our customers, they actually feed us, and they're super, you know, they're super nice to us, and you know, hey, we have leftovers. Do you want something? And oh, absolutely. I'm always hungry.
You know, when aren't you? You're always moving.
You know, and it's just a different dynamic, man, with different types of people and the different types of customers that you have. And and then I've had other jobs, you know, when I was working my first job was Dirksen Transportation. They had the 57s.
Okay.
And that was my very first job. And then I was at Gardner because they got bought out.
Okay.
Dirksen got bought out by Gardner, and I was there for a very long time and still pulling the 57s. And my brother and I, we used to drive show trucks out of that outfit right there at Gardner down here in Chino. And they sold out and they got bought out by some other company. And
wow.
Then I ended up doing flatbeds. So let's see here. I think we cut out a little bit there.
Yep, you're good. You're back.
Okay. So anyway.
It's amazing. Yeah, I think it's amazing. You know, I just do it. It's fascinating. Like we don't I don't know what traffic is like in California, what it's like in LA. I'm sure, I mean, just what you see on TV, you know, I'm sure it's crazy, you know, and every place has its downtown, you know. So what's it like driving in California like that? Like because I've never been there. I honestly don't know, but how's the driving public?
So people drive really fast out here. People drive really fast out here. I want to say, like, for instance, where I'm at over here near Rancho Cucamonga, where the warehouse is.
Okay.
People tend to drive a little bit nicer, a little calmer. But then I'm about 50 miles from Los Angeles.
Okay.
On the east, I'm east of Los Angeles right now, and people tend to within the city. People tend to drive a little bit slower, a little bit more calm, but still a little bit aggressively. As you start heading towards LA, you get into Pomona, you start getting into Baldwin Park, Temple City. You start hitting the 710 out there near LA, Vernon. Oh, it is mayhem. I'm telling you, red lights and stop signs are just suggestions out there. It's yeah. So you really gotta be on your toes driving a truck in LA. And you almost, I don't know how to explain this, but when you're driving that truck around in LA, you almost have to have a command presence when you're driving around in LA, letting people know I'm here, I'm the big dog on the road, and you need to be looking out for me.
Right.
Even though, as professional drivers, we need to be looking out for the general public for their safety.
Right.
But it's weird. I think most experienced drivers know what I'm talking about when the way you drive your truck, the way you approach intersections, it's just an experience thing I'm talking about here.
Sure. Yeah,
I think maybe you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's the confidence you have. You know what you need to do, and you're not going to let anybody stop you from doing it. You do what you need to do, because that's the only way you can convey to them, look, this is the way it has to be. I got to do what I got to do, and I'll get out of your way. But I'm going to do it with all the confidence I need to do it, because it's going to happen one way or the other.
Yeah.
It's not arrogance. It's just confidence.
No, it is. It is. And the faster people let me do my job, the faster I get out of everybody's way. You know, a big prime example is, you know, I used to deliver an El Pollo Loco down there on Crenshaw Boulevard in the 10 freeway. And it's busy, 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. You know, it's a small little shopping center, and you got a blind side from the street.
Wow.
And it's still about 6 lanes wide, but you know, 4 lanes wide with a center divider, but you don't have a lot of room. Cars are going through, and sometimes you just got to pull over and just wait your turn and just start sticking your nose out into all lanes of traffic just so you can back into this parking lot. Right. You know, and you make people stop, I guess you could say, and you do it safely as you can, but you know, you just got to stick your nose out there sometimes and just, hey, let me move so I can get out of your way.
Yeah. Because if you don't, you're just going to wind up sitting there. You know, it's just the way it is. And I think most people understand that. Everybody's going to try and push by you the best they can until you just say, no, that's it. You know, we're going to do this, and you're going to have to slow down and just give me a minute and I'll get out of your way. Like you said, because that's always our goal. I mean, truck drivers don't want to be in anybody's way. We want, you know, at least that's the way I am. I don't want to be anybody's way. I want to be in the right lane. I don't want to be holding anybody up. Don't want to be in your way. Don't want you riding up my butt. So I want to be out of your way as soon as possible. That's just the way it is.
And that's just the way it is, man. And we don't do things on purpose, you know, and that's exactly right. You know, I wish more people would understand, like, hey, you know, that guy's really trying to back in there. Why am I going to crowd him? Just let me back off. Let me give him his room. And in about a minute or two, if that, he's going to be out of my way, and I'm already going to have driven by and forgotten all about it.
That's it.
I think. And in LA, it's really cutthroat in LA. Working at night, it's a lot easier.
Good.
But I feel bad for some of those guys, man, where they gotta, you know, deliver some of these stores during the day. There's other food service companies out there that work during the day. And they just gotta fight it all day long. So if anything, they're probably more mentally exhausted than I am.
Yeah.
Because for me, I work at night. I start around 9 p.m. every night. Oh, okay. I'm usually driving back to the yard about 9 a.m., you know, just 8 a.m. Just, you know, I'm done. You know?
Your day is over and you're at least, you know, just on your trip home. So back to the yard and do what you need to do.
That's it. And even though the traffic has started to come alive, it doesn't bother me anymore because the work is done. Right.
Yep. That's it. And that's the beautiful part of it. That's how it is doing line haul. You know, it's the same way we, you know, 9, 10 o'clock, sometimes 8, just depends on where you're going and what your run is for the night. And, you know, by the time you're coming back in the morning, you know, the 6, 7, I like to get back like before the 7 o'clock hour. It's just a personal thing for me. It's just, you know, but it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah.
But,
you want to make sure you get back in time for your, daytime driver.
Exactly. Yeah. For my city.
Where me, it doesn't really matter because my guy doesn't start until 11 o'clock.
There you go. Yeah. Then you got to worry about whether your truck's going to be back for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So So did your dad drove? Your dad drives truck?
Yeah. My dad's actually retired now. Good for him. You know, he sold everything and he hung up the keys and he's retired and he's traveling the world with my mom. And
that's awesome.
But he drove. What do I say? He's probably driven over 30 years as well.
Nice.
He actually, you know, it's a story that I'm really proud to tell about my dad. My dad is probably one of my biggest heroes out there. And, you know, he immigrated here from Mexico and he had absolutely nothing when he was 16 years old. And he started working as a cook and, you know, he started just doing little jobs here and there. He actually worked for the LA Times, one of his first delivery jobs. And he got fired on his first day for delivering papers to the wrong route. And
it happens.
First day out, you know, he was just a youngster back in the day. And then, you know, he got his driver's license and became a truck driver. I don't know if you guys remember that old outfit called Mayflower.
Yes.
It's been around a really long time. And then he was at Golden West, an old over-the-road place called Golden West. And then finally this man working at Dirksen got him a job there. My dad started working at Dirksen, and the owner gave him an opportunity to buy one of those trucks. So my dad said, okay, you know what? I'm going to buy that truck. Then he went owner operator, and then he bought 1 truck and 2 trucks. And, before I knew it, me and my brothers were working for him. And, he did very well for himself. And my dad was always, always very smart. And then he just sold everything. And on the side, he still sells trucks here and there. He'll buy a truck and he'll sit on it for even a couple months and wait for somebody to come and want to buy it.
Wow.
But yeah, retired 30 something plus years. I can't really tell you how long exactly, but that's
fantastic.
how my dad.
Yeah, my hat's off to him, man. That takes some doing, to come here to a strange country, a whole other place, and build yourself a nice little business. I think that's great.
He did very well for himself. Great. Yeah, he did. And it was a different time back then. Things were a little bit easier, and regulations and things like that were a lot more lenient. And he even tells me, I feel really bad for these owner operators today. I don't know how they do it. I almost had to buy a whole new fleet before I retired because of the air resource board and regen systems and exhaust. And, and living in California, we have some of the most strictest emissions laws in the country. And I'm sure there are other states out there too, but I'm just thinking, he's like, I don't know. I would have had to spend, $500,000 on all new equipment. And it would have been insane. It would have been insane.
Yep.
Here in Pennsylvania, most companies will only buy the stuff that could be used over there in California.
It does seem to be going that way. Yeah.
So is that a thing, where other states aren't allowed to come here unless they have the emissions or something? Or?
I think they try that.
It is, yeah. From what I understand, just from just reading some of the stuff, like they don't. I don't know if it's codified into law that it's at that point now, or if that's coming up. That it's like unless you have this or that, or all the emission stuff, like they don't allow older trucks that don't have all the DEF stuff and all the emissions and all that. Those are all things that you hear, and I don't know for sure 100%. I don't know. That's a good question. It's one of those questions I'm going to have to look into.
Yeah, it's something for a lot of people to know, right? I mean, I guess if they want to become owner operators, well, don't become an owner operator in California, but somewhere else, and then work through California, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a tough, that's a tough world. That's being an owner operator. And I mean, you have got to, you're moving all the time.
I know guys that became an owner operator 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They're not owner operators anymore. And then the whole movement about, stop taking cheap freight and these brokers taking all kinds of percentages off of loads. I mean, I know there's people online, that I've seen on social media, they're openly admitting, look at this $4,000 load that I got here. We're going to offer the driver $1,500.
Yep.
$2,000. I'm going to take half this load from him. And even if he won't take it, somebody else will do it.
I'll find somebody.
I'll find somebody else to do it, And I don't think it's right,
And the only thing they've done, and the only thing that they've done is just broker the freight. That's all they did. All they did was, somebody contacted them. I've got a load, and all they did was put it out there on the boards, and somebody picked, and it's all he had to do in order to get that that money. And that's,
I'm sure there's some honest brokers out there where they're offering 85% of the load, even 80% of the load to the driver, and I wish there were more people like that.
Yeah, because sadly, I mean, when you boil it down, I mean, all the responsibilities on the driver. I mean,
that's it.
Moving the freight, the cost of the fuel, the cost of wear and tear, everything, all of it's all on him. So it's not like he's got, extra deep pockets to handle all the extra costs and expenses that go with it. And that's the game.
I always thought about it. My brother and I, we said, hey man, let's become brokers. Because it's funny we brought this up. Let's become brokers. At one point he was actually looking to get his license, and I said, yeah, man, we can pay a ton of money,
right,
for these loads, so they get covered, man. Even if I only made $100 on a load, I'd be okay with that. I broker out 4, 5, 6 loads for the day.
Yeah.
And if my percentage was only like say $100 for each, I'm good with that. I can survive on that. I don't need to be rich I got the Lamborghini in the driveway, and I don't need a super big house. And
right.
We all got to eat, man. And I'm just here, like you said, sitting behind a computer.
Yeah.
Broke, getting a load covered, and that would be
and the
cool
thing is,
to me.
I don't want to become rich at someone else's expense.
Yeah, exactly.
Where it's costing someone else their livelihood or their ability to take care of their family. That's the bad side of the industry. That's the part that's not so good.
Yeah, a lot of it has changed over the years. My dad says trucking ain't what it used to be back. It's not what it used to be. And this kind of, segue into a little bit of driver wages over the years.
Yeah.
They've kind of plateaued, right? I mean, drivers have been making relatively the same amount of money year over year for the last 15 years.
Yep.
With no real major increases for cost of living.
Right.
And a lot of these a lot of these companies, they compete with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is just my opinion, but
sure.
They're competing with each other, and they're all, cold calling each other's companies, and hey, so I'm looking for a job there, and I was just wondering how much you pay, but they're really working at another company, and they're like an executive somewhere, and they're all trying to figure out what each one is paying and whatever, and they don't want to pay too much, but they just want to stay right there, just evenly competitive with the same.
Yeah.
Well, anymore
with each other.
Yep, very true.
Anymore, that stuff is all, you can find it on the internet, how much each company is paying now. So you don't even have to even do the cold call. Say, okay, call up McLean, say, how much are you paying your drivers? I want to get a job there. Oh, okay, thank you. Click. Then you call up US Foods, do the same thing.
Right.
You don't even have to do that anymore. It's click a couple buttons on a keyboard, and
that's progress.
Yeah, you know what? There's that's called Glassdoor.com. That place right there. I've used that before. And everybody's, when it comes to food service, we're all making relatively the same amount of money.
Right. And it's that's how it is in the LTL. There's really most of the companies are paying right around everybody's and see, this is the thing that's really hard when you think about it. When you talk to some of the older drivers who were drivers in the 70s and early 80s, I got the one guy that we work with, his name's Randy. He was he started working in 79. He was making the same money in 79 that we're making now.
Wow.
That's how stagnant the salaries have been and how things have dropped. And they're starting to rebound again. But, it's how it was, making $1,000 a week in 1979.
That's awesome. That, in 1979, that's pretty good. But
yeah, exactly.
But now it's
look at that. Yeah, now it's like you have to make twice that. It's
and that's just to break even.
It is. Yeah, it's just to keep life going. Yep. So
I barely have enough. I barely have enough to still be able to take my kids and the wife on a nice vacation and do stuff. And and she has nice clothes for school, and the wife can still drive around a nice little car, but
right.
But wages overall over the last few years, it's just flattened out.
Yeah, that's it.
I remember back in the day, my dad would tell me, trucking was one of those jobs where when people asked you, hey, so what do you do for a living? And oh yeah, I'm a truck driver. Oh wow, really? You and they knew you were making money.
Yep.
They knew you were making money. Truck drivers, you might as well have been I don't know what a really good job back in the day is, but truck drivers, man, they were highly regarded back in the day.
Yes.
Way back in the day, especially before me. And I'd like to see that come back someday.
Truck drivers were also respected back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
it was
absolutely.
A tough job, it was one of those jobs that you did. And you could, and I feel that way now doing what I do. I mean, I feel very, I'm proud of the job I do. I'm in no way when I say this, do I mean like I'm not impressed with the job that we do, because I am. I think it's a great job. And, whenever I get an opportunity to talk to some young guy who doesn't know what he wants to do with the rest of his life, like get your CDL, I don't know.
Yep.
My son did, he got his CDL. He worked for the same company I worked for a little while, and then podcasting paid more. So
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Hey.
I was like, well, good for you, man. Go for it. So,
well, let me tell you, I'd do the same thing. If I came across something that paid more, versus trucking, I would definitely choose the more, right?
Yep, exactly.
Especially if I like doing it.
Yeah, that's it. If I enjoyed doing it, yes, 100%, 100%. But it's just the way it is. It's the nature of the business. It's what we do for a living, and it's how we make our money. I raised my kids doing this, Oh,
yeah. Yeah. I've had that conversation with people before, and maybe they got into a little bit of trouble back, years ago or something. And they don't know what to do with their lives, especially, my nieces and nephews and my cousins, or even just friends. I have friends that just, hey, man, this job over here at wherever, it's just not cutting it, man. I said, you know what, dude? We got a program over here at my job. You can, become a helper. A lot of companies are doing this, actually, not just mine. Yeah. But they will pay you to go to school, get your license, pay for your license. And a lot of the time it's just, hey, 2 more years of extra employment with them and you're free to go. Yeah. To wherever you want.
Yeah, and it literally costs you nothing.
Exactly. And it costs you nothing but time.
Yeah, but your time.
And you made a little bit of money doing it.
You got paid.
You got paid doing it. And I think that's I think a lot of these companies are on the right track when it comes to doing it, because nobody has an extra $4,000-$5,000 laying around.
Yeah,
to go to trucking school.
And that's on the cheap end.
Yep, and and some of them here on the East Coast, it's $6,000-$7,000.
Wow.
$1,000. Yeah,
I'm in the wrong business. Crazy. See, I got to start teaching these people. I got to
start teaching.
Just for teaching.
Yeah.
I've heard some of these guys getting licenses in less than a week or 2.
Yeah. But
they sign up for these.
I think 6 weeks if you go straight, and it's 10 weeks if you do it on weekends.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's funny. So the laws must have changed, because when I got my license, it was, all right, go get your permit. Okay, I got my permit, Dad. Great. Now, schedule your behind the wheel immediately. Okay, my behind the wheel was literally the following week. So I'm not even kidding you. My permit to being licensed, I was fully licensed all within 3 weeks. Serious. It was just that fast. You go to the DMV, you pay the fees, you do the written, and then you just schedule your behind the wheel and you are done.
To be honest with you, that's how my schooling was.
Yeah.
3 weeks. 3 weeks. Your first week, you studied, took your permit test. Second week, you're doing backing. Third week, you're out on the road and you're driving, and then you're taking your test.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how it went back.
I always tell
that's
people,
how it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, 30 years ago. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's a different world now.
Well, I always tell people, if you don't know what you're doing, you're still young enough, go, join the military for 4 years. And if you don't want to do that, and get your trucking license. And if you don't want to do that, you know what, maybe get hooked up with that company, become a helper, or work in their warehouse, and then see if maybe it's for you, and you see what's really going on out in the yard with the guys, talk to the drivers, and then maybe you want to become a driver then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just one of those things.
Right. Yeah, we have an advanced program at Pitt.
Apprenticeship. Yeah. They have an apprenticeship program.
Most of the time you start out on the dock, and then from the dock you go to a non-CDL vehicle, then you go up to the Class B, and then Class A.
Yeah.
Oh, so they just kind of slowly get you into there.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. And
cool.
It doesn't cost you anything. You're actually getting paid while you're doing it. You're actually working. So it's really not a bad deal. I just didn't have things like that when I first started learning how to drive. Those things were just they were not around. There was not many. I cannot tell you. I don't know. I don't want to say there was none, but I cannot think of one that I knew of, because if I'd have known of one, would have been a whole different story. I do the apprenticeship program and get paid for it. Why not?
Yeah, we do that. You just become a helper, and then they'll send you off to school when it's your time.
Sure.
Everything's seniority, but when your number is up, the offer is there, and they'll send you out there. And what's good is when you have an opportunity to drive out with me, and say, hey, you're going to take out this new guy. You're going to go out there and show him the job. All right. My job is just to show him how to make the deliveries.
Sure.
And to see, and a lot of the time, they warm up to it. So by the time it's time for them to get their license, all they have to do is just drive at that point. They already know the delivery part of it all. And it's just driving. And I think that's a huge, huge part when it comes to other companies doing that. they're able to show their employees what the job is. So when they send them to get their license, they're not trying to figure out the job anymore. It's just driving after that.
It's just learning the driving part. And if they've paid attention, they've got some of that down, you know what I mean? Because they're actually sitting in the truck. They're actually there and they're watching the driver, or maybe they're getting out and helping him back up or whatever, just directing him or whatever they need, Mm-hmm. And so I think it's great. I just think I think that's one of those really good things for the industry that the industry has begun to really do heavy, because it's a lot easier for them to train people the way they want them trained when they, so when they get their license, they're working the way they want them to work, which is good. I can't fault any trucking company, any industry that would do that will take care of it that way. That way they're, they know how their employees are being trained.
Also, it's nice about doing it that way is, as they're a helper, they get to see what it's like to be behind the wheel somewhat, even though they're in the passenger seat, they get to see and feel what it's like. And maybe that's not what they want to do. Maybe they'll stay doing a helper, or maybe they'll go back on the dock or wherever they like that better.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. I've gotten, in the truck with guys before, and hey, man, this is the first time I've ever been in one of these. I've never been in one of these trucks. This is crazy. I've been in lifted pickup trucks, but this is much higher. This is like, how do you see over the hood? And, it's just the way I sit. I'm more relaxed. Mm-hmm. I'm more laid back. Sure. I guess you could say I'm a little bit more old school, but we'll get to that in a second. But, and they just see the way I'm driving, and they see the way everything looks out the windshield, and just, it's just wild for them. And they look at me and they're just like, hey man, how are you so relaxed? And it's just experience, man. Experience. That's all it is.
It's crazy. It's what we take for granted because we're so used to it. You think about it as getting in your car. You don't think about getting in your car and driving. You just do it. And that's how it is. When I first started driving, that's how it was, like this weird transition.
Yeah.
And then, you get out of the truck after your first day in school and you get back in your car and like the steering wheel is really tiny and you're like this little car, and now I just get in the truck and don't even think, you're cognizant of what you're doing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying you get in the truck and you turn your brain off. I'm just saying, you get so used to it that it's part of what you do, and you don't, it doesn't have that wow factor anymore. Where it's like, oh my word, you're sitting so high, like you're talking, you're sitting so high, and all of this, it's just kind of neat. Yeah,
just another day, man. It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, and people are wild. People, it is funny when I have conversations with people. One of the things I get from people all the time is, how in the world do you drive one of those things around town? It's just like driving a big car. You just do it. You don't think about it. You just do it. And
us local guys, we say it all the time, man. Hey, man. How do you drive that thing? I say, you drive these things like cars, man. You just learn. You build your confidence. How fast you can go around turns, and you learn how hard you can hook a truck, to get your trailer to come around so you can back into a driveway, and you just learn how to just whip these things around sometimes. Just experience, and what you have, in your trailer isn't going to tip over because, you haul this stuff all the time, and what it can do, your straps and your load locks, and you just know. It's just one of those things that comes with experience, right?
Yeah,
you just
100%.
know.
Yep, that's it. It comes with doing it. It just comes with having to get into, and that's probably the hardest thing, is getting somebody to understand that, yes, you can. This is a skill. This is not a talent.
Yeah.
This is a skill. And you'll learn how to do it, and anybody can learn how to do it. And you learn the skill, and you just hone that skill, and you get good at it.
I actually participate in the trucking rodeos out here with my company, and at the state level. What was it? The flatbed. I participated in the flatbed this year over here at the state regional, and I came in 11th out of like 25 drivers for the flatbed, which I was like, all right, that's not too bad,
No, that's awesome.
I wish I was top 10, but I was like, you know what? I guess being a little bit better than half the drivers isn't too bad.
Exactly.
And then over here at the company level, I don't even know what place I came in, but I think I did pretty good. Still scored some good points, but But I always like to show off my skills, and I always like to hone my skills. And even just the other day, I started, blindsiding. Well, I've always been a blindsider. I always loved doing it, but just showing my trainee in the truck, hey, you can do this too, just more to kind of impress my trainee, I guess you could say.
Sure.
Show him, hey man, check this out, bro. Yeah, exactly, right. Hey man, check this out, bro. And then you get in there, and he's just like, wow, that was smooth, bro. That was smooth. And I'm just like, yeah, man, listen, you can do it too, man. Practice. And, even though I didn't have to do it, I still did it because, I'm always practicing every single night I get out there at night. I'm always practicing. You never know what you can do unless you try it, right?
That's right. And that's why it's really cool. You went, you joined the rodeo and you went in and that's awesome. You had the guts. I mean, nobody has any right to look at you and say anything because you're 11 out of 25. Yeah. You had the guts to go and to put your name out there and to put yourself in it and be involved. I think that's fantastic. I don't, that's how I feel about it. It's like, I think that's just awesome. Kudos to you, man. That is fantastic.
Yeah,
you wish more drivers would. I mean, here I am. I don't compete in the rodeo, but I'm excited for guys that do. It's like I think it's great. I really do. It's something that more guys should do.
Yeah,
more
and
guys
it's fun.
Women, men and women in the industry. I think it'd be great. It's good for your own personal confidence level. It's great. I think it's really great. How do they have their how'd you feel about I guess they do I don't know if all of them do it the same. Here in PA they do a written test and then you go do a pre-trip inspection type of thing and then the driving part and all that. I didn't know how they did it out there. I was curious.
Well, at the state level, it's pretty much just the obstacle course. You just drive.
Okay.
And that was it. Now at the company level that we did, we did a written test, a pre-trip, and then you do the obstacle course. So,
cool.
So I guess the written test is more to eliminate ties, I guess.
Sure. Yeah, it gives them something else to score on. Yeah.
Yep.
That's really cool.
That's how we did it here at the company level. And I think it was our first one that we've had in a long time. So the company is really into teamwork and skill building and building that camaraderie with us,
Sure.
And just doing more for the drivers, give them something fun to do every once in a while. And
that's awesome.
I really enjoy it. So that's how they do it.
That's awesome. I'm really glad. I'm glad you did it. I'm sure you're glad you did it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it something that you see yourself doing as they next year or whatever? Do they do it every year? Did your company do it every year?
Yeah, they do it every single year, and I sign up every single year. Well, I'm going to sign up for sure for the state competition. I'll definitely be signing up for that again, and I'll definitely be signing up for the company rodeo as well. It's just something I like to do. I don't know why, but it's just something I really enjoy doing, and I like to know how I stack up against everybody else.
Now, how many have you done?
So I've done 2 state level competitions. And I bombed the first one. I bombed the first one. I was so nervous. It was my first rodeo ever. So I don't even think I even made the point scale on my first rodeo.
Dude, you were there and you showed up.
Yep. And then I did back-to-back years. Yeah, I did back-to-back years. So I did pretty good this time. My nerves were a lot better. And then I've done 1 company level competition. So total 3 rodeos.
Awesome.
So looking to do a whole lot more for sure.
Really cool.
And I know guys, they go in as cool as a cucumber. And hey man, so this is like my 9th rodeo, man. This is like my 9th or 10th rodeo. And are you serious? Yeah, bro. It's nothing, man. It's just driving, dude. It's just driving. Yeah. I want to be cool like that. Because I still get a little nervous. Of
course. But sometimes that's really good is that it keeps you on your game. You know what I mean? Like you don't. I for myself, I find myself if I'm not nervous about something, I will not put as much into it, and that's just me. I mean, that's just how I am. But I think it's really cool. And this year we actually the show Hammerlane Legends. We did the rodeo that our company does. we were actually able to go and video and do all, just interview people, talk to people. So my son, the producer, is still working on getting the video together. He's working on it in between other projects. So it's taking forever to get it done, but it will eventually be out. People at work keep asking, well, when's the video coming out? I don't know.
I'm not in charge of it, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, it's out of my hands. I was there just to do it. And now it's like, but it was, that's what turned me on to it, was that, just going and actually interviewing and talking to drivers, video and watching the competitions and all the things that were going on. And it was just fascinating. I was really taken by it. I was like, that's really cool. And you start to think, maybe I should try that. After 31 years, maybe I ought to give it a whirl,
Yeah, it's just one of those things you just do, you just sign up and say, you know what, if I do all right, I do all right. If I suck, well, I sucked, and we'll try again next year if I can,
Right. It's a learning experience, it's just great. It's great for you. And like I said, it's a great confidence builder,
Well, like anything else. If you keep trying it, you'll succeed.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I know. I'd love to be able to win it one of these days. And they do the main championship out in Florida. I would love to win it. I'm going to Florida, and company paid vacation, take the wife and kids out there, and see how I stack up on the nation.
Yeah,
this is just California, but I'd like to see how I stack up when it comes to the entire nation.
Yeah,
that would
I
be
think
pretty
it's
cool.
awesome. That would be very cool, man. I if you do it, let me. We'd love to have you back on and just talk to you about that. If you go to nationals and all that stuff, that'd be so cool. To just, because I think it's neat.
We'll find out next year, right?
Yeah,
we'll find out next
exactly. Year. It's cool. It is a cool thing.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I don't know if you guys wanted to talk about how like what I do actually for a living now, like how we do it. I thought maybe I could talk about my current job a little bit.
Sure. That's what the show's all about. It's all about you and what you do and how you do it. And all right. 100%.
Yeah. So, I've been trucking for 18 years, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've done a whole bunch of, different things, flatbeds and roller vans. And I used to deliver ice cream for Hub Group. And, then, now I'm in food service.
Mm-hmm.
And working food service is completely different from anything else trucking, right? I mean, I'm delivering in parking lots, and things are at night, and the unknown lurks in the darkness, right? And
yes, it does.
And you're out there all alone, and sometimes you have a helper, but most times you don't. And you're out there all alone. You're alone with your thoughts, and you're physically active all night long. Right. You're physically active all night long. And sometimes we like to say, I get paid to work out all night, and I'm delivering 50-pound cases of chicken all night and things like that. And that's what the job is, working for food service. And I think a lot of guys, or I think the general public, I should say, the general public really doesn't understand what it takes, to get food from wherever it's coming from, right? Because they don't know where it's coming from. They just know, when they go and they order that fast food meal, it comes out the little window and they're eating it. Right. But I don't think a lot of people actually know, well, how did that food get into that restaurant in the first place? Who delivered that? And I'll deliver about 8 stores a night, 7 to 8 stores a night. And at night, empty parking lots, all alone. And I don't really think people know that. And I tend to like,
I know. I agree.
I make videos. I make videos from time to time, and I post them on my social media. And
cool.
Like, well, this is how your food gets delivered. And I deliver for Denny's, and another great restaurant that I like to go to, and really good customer to have. And same thing, man. I'm out there in the parking lot. 700-800, 400 or 500 different cases of food.
Wow.
And your everything from your pancakes to your everything, just all of it. And it's just physically demanding, which is why we only work 4 days, right?
Yeah.
And so it's just a different part of the job than just bumping docks,
Yeah.
I'm not a fuel, I don't deliver fuel or special commodities like maybe people that deliver feed to the farms and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
This is trucking with a labor part of it, right?
Yeah, very much
It's not just driving and I think it's special. I think it's special to me And
Cool.
I'm very proud of what I do. I'm very proud of what I do because I feel a sense of accomplishment after I deliver all that food, and I say to myself, well, America's fed for one more day, and then tomorrow I come back and I do it again, and America is fed for one more day, and my brothers and sisters out there delivering food all across the country, mind you, they're all across the country doing this, running up and down ramps, back of lift gates, and we're all servicing, and it doesn't matter whether it is raining, snowing, heat, the cold. I mean, we are out there delivering this food, no fail. I mean, the roads literally have to be closed for us not to deliver something.
Yeah.
And I think that goes for a lot of other different delivery jobs.
Sure.
But I mean, how much more important can it be than getting food to restaurants? A lot of people don't go to the grocery store anymore, but like our job, I think, is so special because who doesn't eat out anymore these days?
Right. 100%.
So I don't know. That's just my little 2 cents on food service. I think it's just
I think it's
special.
awesome. It is. It's a very specialized industry, it's a necessary. And I mean, think about what it would be like if people had to go pick up their own groceries. I mean, like go to all the purveyors and pick up all of their groceries. I mean, you know what I mean? Like it is something that we take for granted. And like you said,
gas stations too.
Yeah. I mean, it's something it has to be delivered. It has to be there for people to and so no matter what the weather is, like you said, no matter what it is, it's got to get delivered.
Yep.
People got to eat. That's what it's going to be. People are going to eat. They have to. Yep. So what you do is fantastic. I think it's really great. I think it's really cool. It is a very hands-on. Every case is handled. You're dealing with it all. So you deal 300, 400, 500 cases, whatever it is. You've touched each one of those and moved it.
Yeah, and that's just one store.
Yeah, that's just one store. Yes. 100%. Yes.
So, and that could be for a larger store, but for the most part, I'm driving. I mean, for me personally, I'm driving around 110 miles a day. I have 7 to 8 stops. I have 1,100 cases in the truck, and and I got to deliver all that. I mean, it's literally an entire 48-foot trailer full of food, and it's empty by the time I get back to the yard. Like, it is just empty,
and it's all hand unload.
And it's all hand unload.
I never forget that, man. I did that when I first started. I did a little bit of it when I first started driving, and you touched every piece of freight.
Yeah. Sometimes you get pretty good with that dolly, and I can kick stuff off, and I got 5-6 boxes on there, and I'll just run that in like that. But yeah, I like to say this job is not for everybody, and some people find out on the first night. You know what? I can't do this, and they quit.
I'll tell you what job I found out was not for me was moving. I did that for 3 days, man.
I remember my first night. I was sore. I was so bad.
I never worked so hard in 3 days, freaking loading somebody's house and unloading somebody's house. I was like, this ain't for me, dude. My hat is off to guys who do that. My hat is off to anybody who does this for a living and touches everything. When you're loading somebody's house, you're touching everything. You're moving all of it. When you're doing what you do, and you are touching every piece of freight that's on your trailer to move it from your trailer to inside the store, because it's got to get used. That's just the way it is. And my hat is off to guys like you who are hands-on. I mean, I'm at a point now where I'm just driving from terminal to terminal. I'm dropping and hooking.
I love it. I love it.
I'm on my way to the next.
Moving houses has to be pretty difficult too. I mean, you even have to be more careful when you're moving things around, and that takes more energy.
Could you imagine breaking an antique mirror?
I mean, I think you have to think about when I did it. It's like something I didn't think about because this is like 30 years ago. I'm like, okay, I can do this. I'm a kid. I'm young. I can do this. And it's like, you remember what it's like when you moved into your house and you're like, I'm not ever moving again.
Yes.
That's every day. I don't know how those guys do it. I mean, like Tom Lloyd, he's one of the guys that we've interviewed. He does that for a living. And I'm like, dude, and he's not a young guy anymore, and you just think to yourself, I don't know how you do it, man. My hat's off to you. And just like what you're doing, I don't know how you do it. Like I got an artificial hip now. I don't know if I could even, climbing in and out of the back of a truck is not that easy anymore. It's just the way it is.
How I do this every night. It's nothing short of a miracle sometimes. I
believe it.
And I think about my wife and kids and I'm still young. I'm 39 years old now. I'm still young enough to do this job. I'm not in the greatest of shape, but
the truckers aren't.
I mean, most truckers aren't, right? But I'm still physically able. Both awesome. My knees still work. My back is fine. My neck feels good. And what I guess what I like to tell the guys, especially the ones just coming in, is as you warm up, you get going. It's just routine. It's just a rhythm, and it's easy after that. You just got to get going. Just get your head down, get to work, and just keep moving. Don't think of the work as, oh man, I still have
mind over matter.
It's mind over matter for sure. So I always tell people, hey, listen, it's just work. Don't think about it. Just do, and you'll be just fine. Advice. And you'll just be fine.
Really good.
Yeah, one of my first jobs was on a smaller scale than what you're doing. I used to deliver milk to little gas stations and restaurants and things like that. So I know what you're saying. Going up and down that ramp. When they gave me the truck that had a lift gate, I was happier than pig, and you know what?
Nice, and I'm sure you had a lot more stops than me too.
Yeah, but I didn't have as much stuff to pull out.
Oh, okay.
I might have like 300 cases total, where you got that at one stop.
Yeah.
I used to see U.S. Foods come to the schools and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know how you do it.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there watching them going up and down that ramp like it's nothing. With 30, 40 cases on it.
At a shot.
I know.
Yeah,
at a shot.
That's why I'm like,
he's doing almost the same amount of weight on that hand truck than what I'm doing on mine, and I only got 5 stacks of milk crates on.
You know what? I work a lift gate, man, and I always take my hat off to those guys running those ramps. That right there, not only is it dangerous running up that ramp, man, but that's hard on your knees.
Yes.
Yep.
Because you're not just running down that ramp, you got to run back up it. And I was just like, wow, because I've done ramps in the past before, and I just thought to myself, I'm gonna die doing this. Oh my gosh, it takes a special person to run ramps just in and of its own.
And by the time you got to your 4th stop, pulling it out and then putting it up on the clips on it, and it's like, oh my God, your arms feel like jello.
Yeah. That ramp ain't light either.
No.
No. That's
a job.
Yeah. But I always take my hat off to those guys running ramps, man. Because at McLean, we still run ramps. Some of our centers still run ramps. And I was in Michigan, and I ran some ramps there while I was there. And it was kind of humid, actually, hot and humid in Pennsylvania not too long ago. About a month ago, right?
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal PA weather, hot and humid. That's it.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, it's just
actually
normal,
when that was really hot here, I was down in North Carolina on vacation.
Yeah, just enjoying it.
And it was twice humid.
And the one thing I really did like about running ramps, though, was you can make the deliveries a lot quicker.
Oh, yeah.
You're not bringing pallets off the truck. You're just going into that trailer, grabbing your boxes, bringing it down, in and out, in and out, in and out, and you're done. So, but I run lift gates now, and I always tell everybody, when I get back from these company trips, hey, we're spoiled here, guys. We're not running ramps. Our deliveries are so much easier. Our pallets are so much nicer than some of these other DCs, because different DCs across the country, they work differently. But I always tell guys, man, we are spoiled here. Don't take what we have here for granted. Stop complaining. It's good here.
That is one of the things that now truck drivers just love to complain. They will find us. No matter what it is, we all do it. We're all find the thing that is to complain about. But it's honestly,
it's
if it
part
was
of the process of coping,
it is. And if it was, if it really was as bad as we make it sound, like we wouldn't be doing it. It's just the way it is. We enjoy it. We enjoy doing what we do.
Yeah.
And
we love our checks.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. The paycheck is there and it doesn't bounce at the end of the week. I'm good.
Now, there's always work.
Yeah.
Do you guys have the
Always,
removable
yes.
bulkheads where you can separate from like have frozen too?
Yeah. So the thing, we have a multi-compartment trailer, and so you got that. Yeah, we have the freezer, refrigerated, and dry section. But our dry section is mixed in with the refrigerator because it's okay if it gets cold. It's not a big deal. Cups, plates, napkins, things like that.
Right.
But yeah, we have those big orange bulkheads.
Yeah.
So the main part of the trailer is all 34 degrees. Yeah. No, ours doesn't have the window. But it's no. It's just a solid wall. It's made out of like a hard foam type thing. Anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, the main trailer is all 34 degrees, but when you remove that bulkhead, it's 0 degrees in there.
Yeah.
And in the summertime, it's
nice.
the best thing in the world, right?
Yeah.
And, that's how we're able to separate our frozen area from, the refrigerated.
We did the same thing when I deliver milk. We had where it was removable, and I loved it in the summertime. Whenever I had to go in there to get ice cream out, I'd sit in there and like, Yeah. And a fun story here for you real quick. So I actually ended up breaking down one time with an old partner of mine. We run team routes. So it's a 2-driver route going to Las Vegas out of Rancho. And we broke down. We broke down on the way to Las Vegas.
Wow.
We blew a radiator hose and, can't run the truck. We got no air conditioning. And it started getting hot. It was about 85 degrees at like 3 a.m.
Wow.
And it's only getting warmer as the dawn approaches, and that sun's going to start creeping its big ugly head at us.
Yep.
And I just, oh man, it's too hot. Okay. I'm cracking that back door open, and I'm standing in the reefer. I'm standing in there for a little bit because it's just getting hot, and it's just getting hot. And my partner, same thing. He goes in there, and we sit on the chemical pallet that we have, just bleach and stuff like that. And we just sit there. All right, we're too cold. All right, let's hop out. Let's just hop out for a little bit, and then we can hang out here for another hours. Yep, back and forth, just in and out of that trailer, man.
That's great. That's the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it.
And I guess we're fortunate, right, to have that refrigerator trailer, because can you imagine just broke down out in the middle of the desert, and it's getting hotter, and it's getting hotter, and it's getting hotter. It's not like anybody's stopping and bringing you water, right?
Nope, exactly. And the temperature's not stopping going up. I'm sure it's going to hit 100, 110, 120, whatever it gets to, and there's no escaping it. So that's just climb in the back, man. Just enjoy that freaking cool air.
Yep. That's all you can do. And just wait. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, Andrew, I really appreciate you coming on and talking with us. Just hang on with us as we kind of sign out, and we'd love to invite you back on again if you ever want to come back on.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We'd love to have you on again. You were a great guy to talk to. It was really a lot of fun. You're not afraid to talk. I had a great time. I hope you
talk
did
about
too.
anything. I had a great time.
It was really good. It is really, and it was nice to have Scott in as a guest host today.
Thank you.
I enjoyed that.
It was nice to meet both of you.
Yeah, it was our pleasure. It really was. And man, like I said, anytime you want to come back on, you just let me know. You got, you know how to get a hold of me, and we'd love to have you on. We hope we enjoyed ourselves. We hope everybody enjoyed themselves listening to this show. And Scott, do you know what to say here?
Share the show. Share it with your friends. Share it with your enemies, as Shipper would say.
There you go.
Share it with anyone that you can.
You got that right. Just share the show. And keep the hammer down.
In the hammer lane.
There you go. That's it. Thank you, Scott. And thank you, Andrew. You guys take care. And everybody out there, take care.